The energy there, the atmosphere was so dark there. I mean, and I'm not saying just because light band the वहाँ पे तो dark था. I'm talking about the energy was so dark. I started analyzing and I saw something in the pictures. And he's like, "What did you see?" So I said, "I think I saw the devil." So he's like, "Say that again." I said, "I think I saw the devil." पहला मग्गा जो मैंने salt water का अपने ऊपर डाला था, I could feel something leave my body. When we went there, जो हम लोग के साथ हो रहा था वहाँ पे, I mean, our cameras were falling. We were locked in the room.
हेलो दोस्तों, द आयरॉनिक शो पे हम आपके लिए एक और धमाकेदार हॉरर पॉडकास्ट लेकर आ गए हैं। हमने नील डिसिल्वा के साथ एक हॉरर पॉडकास्ट किया था कुछ टाइम पहले। उसमें हमने स्पिरिट वर्ल्ड, एस्ट्रल वर्ल्ड के बारे में बात की थी। फ्रॉम एन ऑथर्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, एक ऑथर के पर्सपेक्टिव से हमने भूत, स्पिरिट्स, इन सब के बारे में थोड़ा सा जाना था। आज हम इन्हीं सब चीज़ों के बारे में बात करेंगे, लेकिन एक पैरानॉर्मल इन्वेस्टिगेटर के पर्सपेक्टिव से। इस पॉडकास्ट पे आज हमारे साथ द इंडियन पैरानॉर्मल सोसाइटी से मेघना पोड़वाल जी जुड़ चुकी हैं। हमने इस पॉडकास्ट में जाना कि एक पैरानॉर्मल इन्वेस्टिगेटर करते क्या है, कैसे करते हैं, पैरानॉर्मल इन्वेस्टिगेशन होती क्या है। मेघना ने अपने कुछ एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर किए मेरे साथ, जिन्हें सोचकर मुझे आज भी गूज़बम्प्स आते हैं। एंड आई एम डेफिनेटली श्योर ये स्टोरीज, एक्सपीरियंसेस सुन के आपको भी उतना ही थ्रिलिंग लगेगा। द आयरॉनिक शो पे एक और धमाकेदार हॉरर पॉडकास्ट एंजॉय। Hi Meghna,
Hi,
welcome.
Ronik.
Hi, welcome to the iRonik show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And it's great having you. And we had Neil De Silva joining us for one of the podcasts. So when we started the podcast, his first words were, even I also mentioned that same, that let's hope that the good spirits are with us, so that there are no technical glitches, there are no post production effects on the episode or everything. So that's what he also mentioned, and I hope the same for this episode as well.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed.
So Meghna, before I even ask you what is paranormal investigation, what is Indian Paranormal Society, let me just ask you first one question. What are the typical names that people call you with? So one is paranormal investigator, एक हो गया demonologist, right? Ghostbuster भी कुछ बोलते।
हाँ, I am not we are not demonologists. अब demonologist बनने के लिए you need to
Church.
study the course,
Right.
to get certified. But ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा most of the time they call us ghost hunters.
Right.
Ghost hunters बहुत common होता है. It's easier for people to understand that term. Paranormal investigator या paranormal researcher इतना लोगों को नहीं समझ में आता जितना ghost hunter या ghost hunting ज़्यादा समझ में आ जाता है.
Movies भी कई सारा इस पे आई हुई है ना, Ghostbusters and all that.
Exactly.
So people,
So it is easier for people to understand that term. So, but ghost hunters and paranormal investigators are like two different things completely.
so what exactly does a paranormal investigator do? So what if you have to, explain the kind of job that you do to a layman? So how would you explain that? आप उसको कैसे बताओगे कि एक paranormal investigator करता क्या है?
So for paranormal investigation, there's a lot of research work that goes in. There's a lot of paperwork, legalities that go in. So typically हम लोग का काम होता है कि we go to haunted locations where there are reports of a location being haunted. As a team, we go there. We have our camera, our gadgets that we set up. We basically investigate and try and document evidence whether there is any kind of paranormal activity actually happening in that place or not. And there are various ways of doing that where we communicate with whatever entity is there. So that is part of that's the investigation part of it. As a researcher, you need to also research about the history of the place, वहाँ पे क्या क्या हुआ था, If there are people staying there, then you speak to them and ask them, interview them. Ki, what is going on यहाँ पर? Since when is it going on? What do you think is the reason that is happening? Or if they know what kind of entity or who is the entity that is haunting the location. So all that comes in the research part of it, which is very important before we go into the investigation. Because unless आपको history नहीं पता है उस place की, या आपको कुछ information नहीं पता है कि वहाँ पे क्या होना है, तो फिर आप क्या investigation करोगे?
Right.
Right? And then of course, we take permissions. If the place is owned by someone, we need to take the person's permission. So we have a whole bunch of forms that they need to fill up and sign, giving us the permission to investigate and use that location for the night or for how many ever days we want to do investigation. It's like जैसे पुलिस अपना काम करती है ना, किसी बड़ा सीन पे जाके या किसी जहाँ पे कोई क्राइम हुआ है वहां पे वो फुल फ्लैश अपना इन्वेस्टिगेशन करती है, रिपोर्ट लिखती है, विटनेसेस से दे विल टॉक, एंड इफ देयर इज फोरेंसिक्स involved in it, then they'll call the forensics team, they'll take pictures, they will study the location and things like that. Same way, that's why even we are paranormal researchers and investigators.
Okay. So your organization, Indian Paranormal Society, so I've read about it, and even Gaurav's story, I think most of anyone who has been intrigued by this paranormal world, or who has even read about the paranormal investigation overall so culture in India, they know about Gaurav Tiwari. So can you just touch upon Gaurav's story? What bug did bite him that he came into this world, this genre, which was not exactly as if looked at as a fascination or even as a career at that point of time? It was probably around 2014 2015 when he started it. And
actually, he started Indian Paranormal Society in 2009.
Okay.
Before that, Gaurav, how did he get into this? He was actually studying to become or training to become a commercial pilot. And
Okay.
he was in Florida at that time. So, जो apartment में that he used to stay with his colleagues and his teammates and all, they started experiencing a lot of activity there. And at that time, he was a complete non-believer. He did not believe in all these things. So when his teammates, when his roommates used to say, ki, ye ho raha hai, wo sunai de raha hai, this, ye, falana, wo, falana, then he would just dismiss the whole thing and say, no. You know how people say, ki, behem hai, andvishwas and things, so on and so forth. So for him, it was that way until he started experiencing the same things. So when he was to be alone in the house, when his roommates were out working or whatever, he started experiencing the same things that they were talking about, hearing footsteps, voices, walking, knocking on the doors, windows, and so things like that. And that's when he was like, what the hell is going on here? I need to check and see what is going on. And so that's when he got in touch with a team there called Paranexus. They are a very big team who provide courses, certifications to become paranormal investigators and metaphysics experts and things like that. So he got in touch with them and he did a full-fledged certification course with them to understand what it is. And while he was studying there, he went to a lot of locations there to investigate, collect evidence, to gain that experience of and to also understand what this is, what is this thing that is going on, what are these ghosts and spirits and things like that. So after getting all that experience, he left the pilot becoming ka thing. He said, "Chalo, usme kya rakha hai? Right? Let's do something exciting." So that's when he came back to India, and this is what he wanted to do. He formed Indian Paranormal Society in 2009, 2010. And from there on, so he was the person who actually bought the paranormal, the whole idea, the concept of paranormal, and to do investigations and investigations, in to India. And I would say whatever teens are here in India right now, they have all learned from him. Most of them have learned from him and then have formed their own teams. Of course, then further on, they studied on their own as well, did other certification courses. But a lot of them, 90% of them, have come from uh, his his teachings. Yeah.
So I don't want to put you in spot of uncomfort, but if you are comfortable sharing, if you look up Gaurav Tiwari today on the internet,
Hmm.
the I think the first two pages of Google will be filled with how Gaurav Tiwari, the
His
first
passing.
paranormal,
Yeah.
right? The story, the unconventional way of his passing away. So if
Hmm.
you are at all comfortable sharing with us, if you have any your what is your opinion on his death, what happened exactly, if you could share with us.
See, I'll tell you what we know. Okay. And everything else is online. Even the police report is available online.
Right.
Uh, According to us, what we believe is that there was nothing, okay, I'll put it this way. There was nothing dark that killed him, or, like there were stories online that
Hmm.
he was killed by that somebody did black magic on him, or there was something that attached itself and that thing was responsible for his passing. No, nothing like that. Gaurav committed suicide, and that's it. Yeah, that is also in the police report as well. There
So
is
there
nothing
was no
untoward. No, there's
so there was
nothing.
no paranormal activity as such which has been
Nothing.
reported all over the internet.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Because, I mean, let me put it, I mean, there is a myth that, I mean, the people, the first thing that can
Exactly.
both kill you. No, they cannot kill you, because if that was the case, we would all be dead by now, because we are always surrounded by spirits. We are 24 hours surrounded by spirits, right? If that was the
Right.
case, how are we still surviving? They
So
cannot
make
do anything to you unless you allow it to happen to yourself, right? Same
right.
thing with, I mean, like people said black magic. He never believed in this. He always said this. For magic to work, no matter what kind of magic it is, for magic to work, you need to believe in it. You need to have that kind of a strong faith, and it should be so strong for it to work, right? But your belief system, आपका जो faith है इतना strong होना चाहिए. If it's black magic, it's not going to affect you. So that was his belief. So yeah, nothing untoward like that has happened कि भूत ने मार दिया या किसी ने black magic कर दिया था, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. He committed suicide and that was it.
So I think first of all, I'm sorry that you had to relive this one particular thing, because I know this is very painful for you guys, right?
Yeah, it's also
But it
mentioned in his
was.
book as well, his story. And so this is
Mhm.
the first version. This book is getting re-released with a new cover again. So his
Okay.
story and his cases are all mentioned. Some of his best cases are mentioned in this book. And this is re-releasing in June
Okay.
again with a different cover and just a little bit of changes here and there. But this is it. This is his story, Gaurav story. Yeah.
Thank you, Meghna. I think it was important to
Yeah.
just to uncover that myth and the secret surrounding his death. So hearing from someone who has been close to Gaurav, it was reassuring for us. Okay, now coming back to Indian Paranormal Society. So one thing you mentioned, that people reach out to you and then you go and investigate the place.
Yeah.
So typically, if you have to ask, so how many calls in a month? Is there a number the number of calls that you get?
See, we don't have a number as such. So
I mean,
we
how
don't
many
really
requests, if
get
I have
any
to put like
calls.
that,
Yeah.
put it like
So
that?
usually people reach out to us through our social media, or they
Yeah.
just email us. Um, on an average in a day, we get about 15 to 20 requests every
In a
day.
day.
In a day. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's including all our social media platforms and our email.
And these requests are pan India.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There are some that come from overseas as well. There's just a few, but mostly across India.
So I have been following up Sarbajit Mohanty. So if you know him, he's one of the
Yes.
leading
Very
paranormal
good.
investigators in
Yeah,
India.
he's a very good friend of ours. Yeah.
Right. So I have followed him. I have followed Jay Alani because Jay Alani has also co-authored a book with Neil De Silva. Right. So all these people have said one thing in common. So out of, just for an example, if there are 10 cases or 10 calls that they have received, out of those 10, in all probability, 9 cases are as such wherein it's just a person's thinking, या कहते हैं ना वहम है किसी का,
True.
वहम होता है because we surround ourselves with so much negativity these days. तो हमें और कहीं पे कुछ इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक ईएमएफ की वजह से भी, इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक फील्ड की वजह से भी कुछ हमें लगता है कि जो चीजें नॉर्मली है नहीं, वी स्टिल परसीव की ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है.
Right.
It's thing like that. So
Yeah.
is that the case same with you? I mean, is that the ratio same with?
Absolutely. From, if you get 100 cases, I would say that 98 out of those 100 cases, 98 cases are psychological.
Okay.
Right? उसमें से जो 2 cases बचते हैं, from there also I can say one case we will definitely find something scientific, or we can provide a logical explanation कि वहां पे क्यों ये सब हो रहा है. Right? The one case may be paranormal. So
Okay.
that's right. They are absolutely right when they say that, it's 95, they say 95% of the cases. I'm going to say 98% of the cases are
Right.
psychological, and they can absolutely be resolved by just consulting. That's it. Consultation or counseling sessions में अपने आप resolve हो जाता है. And like you said, the EMF, yes, that is one of the factors, because if you are exposed to very high EMF, electromagnetic field, the radiation or things like that, that will affect you in ways that you start hallucinating. You will feel that, I can see something from a peripheral vision, मेरे को सुनाई दे रहा है, something, so on and so forth. So that is one thing. Plus also, if you have any medical conditions, right? Medical conditions in the sense you could be borderline schizophrenic. There could be, there is something like mentally you are not stable, so that can also, people in those kind of, who are going through those kind of conditions, they also have this paranoia or that experience that, of sensing and feeling the paranormal. Yeah.
Okay. So now coming back to the scientific part of it, Meghna, right? जहाँ पे आप लोग बोल रहे हो कि 98% of the cases as you mentioned are because of psychological reasons. Then there are explanations कि कहीं पे EMF आई है. All those things said, right? There are still, since there is a profession that is existing of paranormal investigator, and as per our mythology, our religion, or which is now a known fact, there is a parallel world that exists. We cannot deny the existence of that, right? और ये paranormal चीजें होती हैं. 98% टाइम में नहीं होती, but 2% तो होती है. So what is the process to detect that? जो आप लोग ये investigation करते हो, if I have to request you, if you can just walk us through the whole process after a call. If suppose you have received a call, so what is the process? And I'm asking the process only when it is a legitimate case, wherein you actually feel there is a a paranormal presence, or there is something going on which is not not hallucination of someone.
Yeah. So after we finish all the counseling session and everything online, which we do mostly or over the phone, so before we go to the client's location, I'm talking about when we get residential cases, right? Not public property. I'm talking about residential cases. So if the client calls us कि मेरे घर में ये सब हो रहा है, so we will first obviously counsel him over the phone, check, see what is happening, why is it happening, since when is it happening, that whole history we take over the phone. And if we feel, and if possible, we have our client try and see if they can record that activity that is going on, if they can. If they do send us some kind of evidence that, see, this has happened, then that's when we go ahead and take up that case. One thing there. Second, if there are children involved, if the client says my child is getting, physically attacked or it's harming the child, whatever which ways, uh, no questions asked, we will be there. We just
Okay.
go there for the investigation. Because once the client says that my children are involved, my children are getting affected, and that case goes right on top of our list. बाकी सबके लिए फिर भी we will sit and counsel them, that's a different thing. Whether we get anything there or not, that's completely different.
So sorry to interrupt you, मेघना. जो आपने बोला अभी कि जहाँ पे चाइल्ड इन्वॉल्व है वहाँ पे आप लोग की प्रायोरिटी हाई हो जाती, बिकॉज
Yes.
एक चीज जो है दिस थिंग्स आई मीन जैसे व्हाट वी से अबाउट एनिमल्स एज वेल, राइट? एनिमल्स एंड इन्फेंट्स, they have then heightened sense of
Just because they are innocent, right?
right.
They're innocent. They have not yet been exposed to the world that we live in. Right?
क्या सही है क्या गलत है वो आइडेंटिफाई नहीं करे.
एग्जैक्टली वो अभी उस स्टेज पे नहीं है जहाँ पे उन लोग के पेरेंट्स उनको बता रहे हैं क्या सही है या क्या गलत है. राइट देयर व्हाट यू से इज लाइक their soul is still pure.
Exactly.
Right? So the children and animals, they are very sensitive to picking up these kind of activity. So that's why where children are involved, that case goes really on top on high priority list for us. So once we go to our client's place, usually what we do, we start with a preliminary investigation. A preliminary investigation would be a few days before the actual investigation, or maybe a day or two before the actual investigation. In the preliminary, what we do is we sit with the client once again, even though we've spoken to them over the phone. We sit with the client once again, ask them what's going on once again, speak to other family members, and check with them whether they are also getting affected the same way as the client is. We try and get the history of the place. If we can speak to neighbors, if we can speak to the security guards or anybody else around, and understand कि वहां पे उस प्रॉपर्टी से पहले क्या था, right? And who was staying there before the client was staying there, so things like that. All that we start in the preliminary. Plus, we do a base reading of the place, right? Just to check what's the EMF. Mostly importantly, to check and see what's the EMF there. If the EMF is high, on a higher level, we will try and find the source of the high EMF, right? For instance, I will give you an example. There was a case that we got where there was only one person of the family who was getting affected, who was experiencing all this. So after the entire night of investigation, it turned out that the EMF was so high in the house, not even in the house, in his room. And why was the EMF high? Because his room was right next to electric, those
transformer,
street lights.
Okay.
Was right next to the street light. So every time and he was exposed to that EMF for so many years that he started seeing stuff, because that's how EMF affects, right? You start to see things, hear things, and that is how it happens. So if the EMF is high, we will tell them what needs to be done. If, however, also we do a small recording session, audio recording session with a digital recorder, just to see if we can connect, if there is anything who will respond to us. But if we don't get anything, so we go back there for, sometimes you don't get anything on your recordings, but you just have these personal experiences at a location. So जब ये सब होता है, then we go for a proper investigation again. After a few days, then we set up our cameras, our gadgets, all the gadgets that we have, and then we break out into teams, and we go and we'll go and try and connect to whatever entity is there, gather evidence in different areas of the house, or wherever there is very high activity, wherever they say कि ये area है जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा मेरे को affect करता है, सबसे ज़्यादा यहीं पे होता है activity. So that's how we do our investigation. Once the investigation is done, usually it is for the entire night that we stay there. The next day or maybe the day after, we will sit and analyze what we have collected. So we will go through our video recorders or audio tapes, the pictures, whatever we have. And agar usme kuch milta hai, then we will inform the client, this is what we have, this is what we've collected. Ye evidence humko mila hai. And if we don't gather any evidence, we will tell them that we've not picked up anything. And then basis on what they want, then we will tell them what's the next step. If they want to do a cleansing, we can help them with the cleansing. If they need further investigation, we'll go for a further investigation as well. So that's how the whole investigation process goes.
So how is the team within your organization broken down? Because for normally any paranormal investigator organization, so there are investigator, there is a demonologist, there is a psychic reader. तो एक होता है कि फिर जैसे आपने बोला रिसर्च का
नहीं है ऐसा, it's not a compulsion.
Okay. So what is the composition of the team?
हर पैरानॉर्मल टीम के साथ साइकिक्स या डीमोनोलॉजिस्ट वो सब होते नहीं है, चैनल मीडियम्स नहीं होते हैं.
Okay.
For our team, we are only paranormal investigators. We don't have any psychics. We don't have any demonologists in our team. The only person who did and who was ordained to was an ordained minister who could perform an exorcism was Gaurav.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the only one who could do that. But for us, we don't have any such persons. There are teams who have spirit, like Sarbajit's team. Sarbajit is a demonologist and Pooja is a spiritual healer and a psychic medium, right? Plus they have investigators and exorcists in their team as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but nothing for us. So if the client needs these kind of spiritual consultations, counseling, then we refer them to Sarbajit's team. Because Pooja is a spiritual healer and a spiritual counselor. So she can help them. So we usually work with their team in tandem. But for our team, we don't have any psychics in our team or mediums or demonologists. No.
So what is the next step when you have a confirmed paranormal or presence of a spirit? So what are the next steps that you take in terms of?
That entirely depends on the client. Now, if it's a residential case, then we'll ask the client what do they want to do. Usually, we'll tell them. Say, for instance, I will give you another example of a case. So we went to this residence and we were just we were just speaking and we were getting some kind of evidence, some kind of answers from the entity there. But then as and when we started talking to the family, then they finally opened up and told us what exactly is happening in the house and why do they think it is happening. When we got that understanding, then our questions to the entity changed completely because we were not aware of what was going on because the client did not tell us. Once we found out, once the client opened up and told us कि ये सब हो रहा है, कि they think कि इसके वजह से ये हो रहा है, that's when we started connecting with the entity and asking those personal questions. That's when we started getting a lot of evidence. When that happened, we told the client, look, you promised this person that you will do this. You did not fulfill that promise, right? This is the reason why this entity is here. It is here to remind you of the promise that you gave that entity. So now, if you want this thing to calm down, you will need to fulfill the promise that you gave that entity, right? And that's what they did. Because we called them up again and checked with them what's going on after some time. And they told us that they did what we told them to do, and now things are very quiet in their house. So that is one approach. Another approach is that if the client says, can you do a cleansing for us? So yeah, okay, yeah, fine. We are happy to do a cleansing. we will go about doing the cleansing for them. And if we need help from somebody else with the cleansing, like uh, Sarvajit's team or someone, then we will have them come on board and help us with that as well. So that entirely depends what the client wants to do. We will put the put the suggestions in front of the client. अब उन लोग को पता, उन लोग को ही they are the ones who can decide,
Right.
right? कि उन लोग को क्या करना है, उनको वहां पे रहना है, ये कैसे रहना है. We also tell them that, see, look, there's nothing, they're not harming you. They are just here. So either you learn to live with them and you put your stand, कि उनको बोलो, see, look, this is my home too. You are welcome to live here, but please don't harm us. You don't come in my way and I don't come in your way. You do what you want to do. We will do let us do what else we want to do. If you harm us in any way, we will have no other choice but to let you go. So that is something they need to define to the entity there. कि ये हमारा घर है अब. You used to live here, or you don't belong to this place. If you want to live here, आप रह सकते हो, but back off. All these things, we tell them that what needs to be done. These are some of the things that we help them out with, how we help them
So
out with.
you just mentioned that you asked the spirit that will have to let you go. So what does that mean?
That
How
is
do you ask a spirit to?
cleansing karke, tell the spirit to leave the place and go into the world that it is supposed to be in, right? Not hanging around yahan par for no reason. If they have no work here, if they have nothing
Okay.
to do here, if they are scared or if they don't know what to expect, there are reasons why spirits are here. Some are just stuck, some have unfinished business, some have no idea that they are dead, right?
I was just coming to that.
Some are scared to go on to the other side because they don't know what is there. So us as paranormal investigators, paranormal researchers, we also have to help the spirit world, right?
Okay.
For the spirits to cross over. So when you're doing a cleansing, the cleansing process involves helping the spirit to cross over as well, right? Also cleansing the place, cleansing the home. So that is what, right? So we have to help the dead as well as the living as well. We can't just help one person here. So that's how it is. Yeah.
So here you mentioned that there are spirits who are maybe stuck. There are spirits who are still in doubt. They don't know if that they are dead, right? There are some spirits who have unfinished businesses. So basis all these theories and all this, what are the kind of spirits that are there? Because it's not only that there are spirits who will not harm us, right? Or because there are cases wherein this level have gone to to such a portion that someone has to leave the house, right? Or someone has been fatally injured or might have been dead because of so and so incident. So what are the kind of spirits have you have come across?
But you can't blame the spirits about if somebody is injured, if somebody is dead. How do you know that is there proof that he was killed by the spirit? There is no proof. There is nowhere in the world. No, you can ask no matter what number of paranormal investigators in the world. You can ask them. They will all say the same thing. Spirits can't kill you. No matter whether they are good, whether you call them good spirits or whether you call them demonic entities or whatever bad spirits, they cannot kill you. They cannot kill you. As per the kind of spirits, the different types of spirits that we deal with are, we have different kind of hauntings. Okay, so we have residual hauntings, we have intelligent hauntings, we have poltergeist activities. Spirits are human and inhuman spirits. Now, human spirits are like you and me, right? Inhuman spirits are spirits that have not walked earth in a human form. Now, this can include angels, demons, elementals, fairies, so on and so forth. Okay, that's a very big, broad term inhuman spirits. Inhuman spirits doesn't always mean bad spirits. No. This is a see यहाँ पे ये terms ना हम लोग इतना loosely इस्तेमाल करते हैं ना, so it becomes difficult for us to explain to a layman कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, right? So these are the kind of spirits that we deal with. Very rarely, बहुत कम होता है कि हम लोग inhuman spirit से deal करते हैं. Even if we have a bad spirit or an evil spirit, it's basically just a spirit, human spirit, which is really bad. Right? They are the ones who are attacking or whatever, physically harming, like scratch. And even if somebody says, oh, it scratched me, pushed me, shoved me, that doesn't mean that it's there to harm you. That is also meaning that they're trying to get your attention.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is how it is. Just because एक spirit ने आपको धक्का दिया doesn't mean it's demon. No. I've been in this field for almost 8 years now. And my 8 years that I've been here in this, I have never experienced a demonic spirit. A bad attachment. There was an incident that happened after I went for a case of what I saw, but I still don't consider that as a demonic attachment. I just
थोड़ा
feel
बताइए
that
हमें उस बारे में.
whatever, I just feel that it was whatever was there, it just attached itself to me. So we went again a residential case. We do a lot of residential cases. So we went for a residential case and very active location, very, very active location. As soon as when we finished the entire investigation and everything and came back home and I was sitting and analyzing the footage and I think मैंने उस जगह पे almost 600 pictures लिए होंगे in one night, 600 pictures of that location, of that house. And in some of those, in one picture, actually no, it was a series of pictures that I saw something happening in those pictures, and that's when it affected me. And तो जब मैंने वो देखा, so I was a little taken aback. What the hell did I just see? So मैंने कहा, okay, let's shut this thing. I'll do something else. I said, let me just go to switch.
I will just interrupt you. Can you please tell us what did you see?
I'll tell you. Wait.
Okay.
I will tell you.
I'm happy to wait.
I will tell you what I saw. So मैंने कहा, okay, I'm done with seeing the pictures. I'll just switch to watching some CCTV footage. Now उस time पे मेरे पास CCTV footage का software नहीं था. So I called up Gaurav that time. And I said, Gaurav, what do I do with this? I don't know how to view and this. So Gaurav is like, wait, Meghna, what are you talking? I said, what? So he's like, I mean, I know you're saying something, but I don't understand what you're saying. There are words coming, but you're fumbling. I said, no, I'm not fumbling. This is what I'm asking you. He says, no, I don't understand. मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा तुम क्या बोल रहे हो. So I was like, he's like, okay, tell me what happened at the case. तो मैंने बताया कि ये सब हुआ था. And then he's like, when you came back, what did you do? I went off to sleep. And then I just got up and I started analyzing and I saw something in the pictures. Then he's like, what did you see? So I said, I think I saw the devil. So he's like, say that again. I said, I think I saw the devil in the pictures. And he's like, okay, do one thing. First of all, I want you to go do a cleansing for yourself. And I had no idea at that time what does self-cleansing mean या कैसे करते हैं and all that. So he told me कि simple method है ये, ऐसे कर. ये सब कर और फिर you won't feel better, but वो उसमें time लगेगा better feel होने में. I said, okay. He's like, stop everything right now. सबसे पहले अपना cleansing कर. So I did my so so basically simple cleansing technique is salt water bath, right? So जब when I जो पहला मग्गा जो मैंने सॉल्ट वाटर का अपने ऊपर डाला था, I could feel something leave my body. Literally, I could feel something leave my body. Uh, jerk सा होता है and something just leaves. We've seen Doctor Strange, right? उसमें
Right.
से कैसे उनका soul बाहर निकलता है. And exactly the same way that happened with me. I could feel something just leave my body, and there was this loud scream in my head. I could hear this person screaming in my head, and that thing was attached to me for almost 1 week. And every day I used to do a saltwater cleansing, and I was so drained out and everything. So मैंने गौरव को बोला था. After 2 days, I told Gaurav that it's not affecting, कुछ नहीं हो रहा. I can still feel the same thing. So he said, continue to do it. Anyway, मैं अगले हफ्ते आ रहा हूँ, and if it's still you're still feeling the same way, then I will perform an exorcism on you, a small rite of exorcism on you to get you rid of whatever is there. In the meantime, you send me the pictures of what you saw. And मुझे पता है उस pictures में कुछ नहीं है. But I don't know why for that moment, जब मैंने पहली बार वो picture देखा, I saw this thing manifesting in front of me in the pictures. Video भी नहीं है, pictures में. And if I say the word devil, तो आपके दिमाग में क्या picture आता है?
Red-eyed horn वैसा वाला कुछ.
Exactly. So that is what I saw. I saw this huge creature, right? And almost it could be about 10, 11 feet tall, right? Literally taking the whole space from the roof, from the ceiling to the ground, right? A face of a ram with huge horns like this, I say, and a human body, and the legs are horses' feet, hooves. And it looked at me and it was laughing at me. You know that laugh when somebody says, I'm watching you, I can see you, that kind of a smile, that kind of a laugh.
It's like
you
someone
know?
mocking you. Do what you want to
Absolutely.
do.
I said, yeah,
I'm not going to go.
I can see you, right?
Okay.
And I know you can see me as well. So that is what I saw in the pictures. So what was I explaining to you? See, कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच जाता है.
Please continue.
So I don't know what I was explaining to you before. So this is what happens, and you have no idea what's going to take place in cases. So what was your question? आपने क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा था मुझसे?
क्वेश्चन को साइड में रखते हैं. I just wanted to carry on. I mean, I think this is the best part of the podcast, wherein you are sharing your own experiences. That's something that has happened to you.
Yeah. So this is what happened to me, and वो attachment जो मेरे साथ रहा was like for almost 1 week. So when I talk about this to other people, they are like, "Oh, you were possessed." I said, "No, I don't think I was possessed." It was an attachment. It was a very strong attachment, but I know for a fact that I was not possessed. I mean, possession एक बार में नहीं होता. Possession takes time. Yeah. उसमें वो भी stages में होता है. I know I was very angry. I was I was snapping at everyone. Extremely mood swings and all that हो रहा था मुझे उस time. When I first that attachment happened to me, and there was this voice every time goes on in your head, saying, hit this person, hit that person, yeah, go. Those things are there. But I don't think that it was a demonic, how we were talking about bad spirits. So that's what. So I think it was just that spirit which was there in that location, that weekend, that attached itself to me. Right? I still don't, just because I saw the devil in the images, I still don't believe it was a demonic possession. I still don't believe it was demonic or even a possession. I just feel कि वो एक bad spirit था जो मेरे साथ attach हो चुका था. Why? Because I was happily provoking the spirit on the
Right.
location.
Right.
So that's the reason why this happened with me.
So was it the first stage of possession as they call कि पहला जो stage होता है जब possession की शुरुआत होती है, first the spirit attaches itself to you or an object, right? Then there are stages कि हाँ तबीयत खराब होती.
The first stage of possession is like when it's a manifestation, manifesting where the spirit is trying to show itself, like they will knock or you will hear footsteps and you will hear voices, things like that. And then it goes to, then it starts to show itself. It won't even show you itself completely. It will be like, then they will start to isolate you. You will get in that oppressed stage, the depression ka stage. Then there will be that stage where you completely cut yourself off from the whole world. You've locked yourself in the room, don't want to talk to anyone, this, that. And that's when that depends on you, right? How strong you are. If you become weak and vulnerable at that time, it will take over. It will take over your body, like they say, it will possess you. But then that doesn't happen overnight, I mean, ऐसा नहीं है कि आप घर में घुस गई हैं and कोई भूत खड़ा है दरवाजे के पीछे and हाँ भूत, कि I'm here to possess you now. ऐसे नहीं होता. It could take days, it could take weeks, it could take months, it could take years, for a spirit to completely possess you. That also if you allow it. If you catch this at an early stage, if you have that help, like in my case, I had that help from Gaurav. If I would not have called Gaurav, I don't know what would have happened, right? So that's what it is. How strong you are, how strong-willed you are. आपका faith कितना strong है, उस पर depend करता है. No spirit can take over you if you are strong. However, if you are weak, vulnerable. Possessions अगर आप देखेंगे तो किन के साथ होता है ज्यादातर? If you see the history of possessions, right? Whatever cases have been there of possessions, it will be with people who are weak, who are vulnerable, who are depressed, who are sick, who have some kind of an addiction. Anywhere you are physically, mentally, spiritually weak, those are the people जिनके साथ ये ज्यादातर होता है. If you are, I mean, ऐसे तो कोई nobody, how many possession cases have you known? अगर सब लोग के ऊपर सब possessed हो जा सकते हैं इतना आसानी से, तो सब लोग ही possessed state में they'll be roaming around. But इतनी आसानी से possession नहीं होता है.
I think मेघना पॉडकास्ट करना सबसे फैंटास्टिक चीज यही है कि when you're interacting with a person, it's like कि वो जब अपने जोन में आ जाते हैं, when they start sharing, so that's when the beauty of podcast comes out. It's not like कि इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चन से ठक 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 पूछा, इतना जवाब दिया, we thank you. So okay, so now coming back to आपने जैसे एक्सपीरियंस
पार्ट 2 करना पड़ेगा.
I'm happy to do that part 2, part 3, part 4. I'm really happy to do that. So एक मेरा जैसे आपने अपना एक एक्सपीरियंस बताया जहाँ पे someone one spirit had attached itself to you and you had to cleanse yourself. So over your career of 8 years as a paranormal investigator, some of the experiences that you had, I mean, इतने सारे केसेस आते होंगे, बट आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कुछ ऐसे केसेस है जो हमेशा के लिए आपके माइंड में, आपके दिमाग में घर बना लेते हैं. Probably there is an emotional attachment to the spirit itself, or probably there is an attachment in the overall magnetism of the case. So if you can please share with us a couple of stories. Actually, if you have that.
Most of the cases जो है हम लोग को we usually remember most of our cases. Like अभी जैसे मैंने ये केस बताया आपको. This case was so profound. I mean, that is just my experience. I'm telling you, when we went there, जो हम लोग के साथ हो रहा था वहां पे, I mean, our cameras were falling. We were locked in the room. In the sense कि when Siddharth and I, we went in the room to do an investigation to try and connect or speak to the entity. I clearly remember that the door was open. In the sense, मैंने भेड़ के रखा था उसे. But once we finished our session, and when I tried to open the door wouldn't open. तो मैं लॉक कर रही थी, अनलॉक कर रही थी, लेकिन डोर खुल ही नहीं रहा था वो. इट वॉज लाइक किसी ने बाहर से उसको बंद करके रखा था. एंड आई वाज स्ट्रगलिंग सो मच. इवेंचुअली, आई मीन, उस टाइम पे हंसी भी आ रही थी कि ये क्या हो रहा है. You know, when you're experiencing all these things for the very first time, I don't know really how to react to such things. So Siddharth and I, we were laughing also, and we were a little amazed also at the same time. So what the hell is going on here? Then he kept asking me, "Are you sure तुमने बंद नहीं किया?" I said, I know what I did because I was standing next to the door. I know what I did. So our other team members, तो उन्होंने बाहर से दरवाजा खोला, and we were like, "Why did you lock the door?" They said, "We didn't lock the door. We just opened it from outside because we saw you struggling from in because the CCTV cameras में देख रहे थे हम लोग को." So that is something that was happening there. Plus the energy there, the atmosphere was so dark there. I mean, I'm not saying कि just because light बंद थे वहां पे तो dark था. I'm talking about the energy was so dark, and you could not stay in that place alone. I mean, it was so scary. That was one of the most profound experiences that we've had as a team. And of course, उससे पहले मैंने आपको जो बताया था वो दूसरा रेजिडेंशियल केस जहाँ पे हमने क्लाइंट को बोला था कि आपने जो प्रॉमिस फुलफिल नहीं किया है आपको फुलफिल करना ही पड़ेगा if you want the spirit to lead you. So that was one of the cases. I mean, ऐसे जो बहुत it leaves an impact on you, you know. Sometimes when you it's not even the case, sometimes it's the evidence that leaves the impact. So I remember we had gone to the Japanese cemetery for an investigation, and वहाँ पे ऐसे कुछ हो नहीं रहा था, but I was just busy taking pictures. We did not get anything on videos, we did not get anything on audio, but pictures में I caught a face of a monk in the pictures. And
Of a monk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Twice ऐसा हुआ था. And then there was a very weird picture that I captured. It was just a silhouette of somebody sitting, you know. And I was like, till today, I have no explanation as to what it was or what it is. Because we did go back there to try and debunk all these things, but we could not recreate that scenario again. We tried everything. So sometimes it's the evidence that leaves an impact. Sometimes it's the client's emotional state that leaves an impact. I mean, you may not find any evidence at the location, but the way what the client is going through, that leaves an impact on you. So, most of the cases we remember, but these are some of them that really shook us. You know, ये भी हो सकता है और ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं हम लोग. So yeah, every case is a different case. You know, you learn from every case. You have to deal with every case differently. You may be taking the same gadgets, you may be asking the same questions, but then still every case is a different case for you.
Right. So this is something where there is a risk of life itself, right? जहाँ पे अगर कुछ गलत हो गया, you could be putting yourself, right, or your team or the customer or the person that you're helping out, their life on risk. So what is the psyche when you're going, when जब आपको confirmed है कि यहाँ पे कुछ एक बहुत heavy spirit है, बहुत aggressive spirit है, कुछ ऐसा है, presence है, so how do you cater to that? जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि you guys were locked, couple of you got locked, right, and then people have to come from outside and open the door. So what is the psyche at that point of time? What is the physical, you know, जब ऐसा किसी सिचुएशन में होते हो, there is a physical
panic Panic
panic as well.
horror, हाँ.
You feel heaviness,
Yeah.
choking of the throat. So what is the mental psyche at that point, जब
See,
आप ऐसे किसी स्पिरिट
uh,
से आपका सामना होता है?
because I was with Siddharth at that point of time, so I did not feel that panic attack because I know I have somebody in the house and with me
Hmm.
in that room. Probably if I was alone, it would have been a completely different state of mind for me at that point of time. I may have gone into the panic mode and started screaming and shouting and and banging the door to open up and things like that. But uh, so you that is what we do when we go to a location. We try we don't go alone. We always make sure that there is one person there with us because you have no idea what is there at the location. चाहे वो residential हो, चाहे वो public property हो. When you have somebody with from the team with you, तो एक तो आपको confidence हो जाता है, right? And then you have the confidence of going in that place with someone and investigate it, and then if anything comes up, then together as a team, you can encounter it, face it, and see what needs to be, how will be, uh, what's the next step, how do we go about facing this situation that we are in right now. So I mean, see, first of all, when we go into a location, we always go with an open mind. We don't pre क्या बोलते हैं, वी डोंट मेक अप अ माइंड पहले से ही कि हाँ यहाँ पे कुछ है या यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं है.
Mm-hmm.
राइट, एक ओपन माइंडसेट से आप जाइए वहां पे, फिर आपको जो भी मिले आप उसके हिसाब से देखिए. Now, because we are experienced now in this field, we know how to handle most of the situations that we encounter, whether it's aggressive, whether it's fine, whether there is nothing or anything there. But अगर आपको कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है इस फील्ड में, या आप किसी भी लोकेशन में ऐसे चले गए और आप वहां पे स्पिरिट को प्रोवोक कर रहे हैं, राइट, अननेसेसरीली, नो राइम रीजन, आप प्रोवोक कर रहे हैं फॉर वॉट एवर रीजन यू आर देयर इन दैट प्लेस, राइट, उस टाइम पे हो सकता है कि आपके साथ कुछ ना हो, राइट, बट देन इफ देयर इज अ स्पिरिट देयर व्हिच जिसका इंटेंशन is to harm people, there's a possibility that it will come after you or the people who are associated with you. So, as a newbie or as a thrill seeker, don't go to locations where you have no idea what's going on. Or even if you're going to locations, please respect the location, respect the spirit there. You can't just go and provoke, just for no rhyme or reason. So that is something that for all the new paranormal enthusiasts, जो बोलते हैं ना, जो they want to literally jump the fence and go and investigate a location without any kind of experience or help, professional help, or understanding of how it works. Because जो पिक्चरों में या सीरियल्स में दिखाते हैं, it is not really what happens in reality. कुछ हो भी सकता है, कुछ नहीं भी हो सकता है, आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा. How will you know? And then कुछ हो गया, something attaches itself to you, then you have no idea what to do. How are you going to manage that? How are you going to get rid of that attachment? You have no clue. So for us as investigators, because we have so much of experience now over the years, we are able to manage all these things. I mean, ऐसा कुछ मेजर कभी हुआ नहीं है हम लोग के साथ कि we have no idea हम लोग क्या करेंगे अभी, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. There is always we figure it out कि कैसे करना है, or we will always, if we don't know, then we'll speak to other paranormal investigators to take their help. Yeah, so yeah, that's how it is.
So, Meghna, do you feel whenever there is such a case, right? The first case that you mentioned, and then again where you got locked up. So, do you feel when these cases are over, there is a piece of you that you know that you just live out there and it takes a mental and physical toll on you?
Of course, it takes a mental and physical toll on us, because what we do is, see, our body is the best gadget that we have, right? Whether your actual, those scientific gadgets pick up something or not, as evidence, your body picks it up first,
Hmm.
right? हम लोग की एनर्जी इतनी हाई है कि हम पिकअप कर
Hmm.
सकते हैं वो. So, uh, what did you say? What did you ask?
I feel there is a heaviness during the discussion. During the second half of the discussion, I could feel some heaviness. Okay, my question was, whenever there is such a case, right? The cases, the first one where a spirit attached itself to you, then the second one when you got locked up. So does that take a heavy mental and physical toll?
It does, because your energy, what we do is, when sometimes what happens is we tell the spirits to use our energy to manifest,
Hmm.
right? अभी वो हमारी एनर्जी ले रहा है तो हम लोग ड्रेन हो जाते हैं.
Hmm.
Sometimes we can feel the emotions of the spirit, right? If you're very sensitive to all these things, then you will pick up the emotions of what the spirit is going through or went through at the time when it was alive, or at the time when it was dying, or in that stage of dying, or whatever happened to it. You can pick up those emotions as well, and that can drain you out again. You could feel so lethargic, tired. Sometimes there are times, when I go to locations now, itna saal ho gaya, so I have become a little sensitive in picking up all these emotions and feelings and all. So sometimes what happens, before I can even go to an investigation, right? I will start feeling that drain in me, the energy drain in me. I'll start feeling tired, or my head will start paining a lot, or I'll have these palpitations or nausea or things like that, जो normally nahi hoga. But once you become very sensitive to all these energies, it starts to affect you a lot. And that's when it is that you need to be very strong as well.
So does meditation and your path to spirituality help in
Yeah.
this case to cleanse yourself, to get back to your normal senses, to get rid of this negativity?
Yes, I believe so, that meditation and your connection to your spirituality really helps in all these things. For me, what I do is, every time I come back from an investigation, I do a cleansing for myself. Whether I do a sage cleansing, or Palo Santo cleansing, or a salt water bath, I do that cleansing on me, because I don't want any of that energy attached to me. Because I have to do my everyday work as well. I cannot have that thing draining me out, or making me feel uncomfortable, or make me feel different. I want to be myself when I'm doing my work. So yeah, it does happen. Yeah. So you have to find yourself, you have to find that stage, or that state where there is a way that you can rid yourself of all that stagnant energy. In fact, it doesn't even have to be coming back from an investigation. Once in 15 days, I will take a salt water bath. The reason is because, when you're going out, you come across so many people, whether you know them or not. किसी का भी कोई भी एनर्जी तुम पे अटैच हो सकता है,
Hmm.
right? You may not even feel it, but then for me, uh, I'm on the spiritual, more on the spiritual side. I meditate a lot, and uh, do a cleansing every now and then. I do cleansing and all. So for me, yeah, every 15 days I will do a cleansing on myself. I will cleanse my whole house. I will do a sage cleansing of my whole house, or the whole Palo Santo cleansing of the whole house. Or I'll just sprinkle salt everywhere, all the corners. Or I'll take holy water or holy oil, or sprinkle everywhere. Things like that I do a lot, just to keep, because I stay in a place where it is relatively active, you know. So to keep all that energy outside, I do a cleansing every now and then. of my house.
So just picking up a couple of questions, what you just mentioned. One is that these spirits or these energies, they feed from your soul or feed from your energy, right? What are the other source of how do I put it कि
How
अपने आप
can
को
they
जिंदा
manifest?
या आई थिंक दैट वुड मैं बोलने वाला था हाउ डे वो अपने आप को जिंदा कैसे रखते हैं दैट वुड बी आई मीन आई डोंट
वो
नो
जिंदा क्या है, वो तो मरे, I mean, it's only
एग्जैक्टली
the, see, it's the physical body that dies, right? Your
हाँ
soul remains. Your soul is eternal,
हाँ
right? Every lifetime you get a different body. That is just a vessel. This physical body of ours, it's just a vessel for our soul.
हम्म
You know? Now there are ways for spirits to manifest. They can show us either themselves completely, which is very rare. They really like, they can be shadow figures, they can be mist, like cloud kind of a thing, or small balls of light. Yeah. और mostly इस तरह से ही होते हैं, they manifest. Now if we want to tell, it takes a lot of energy for them to manifest, right?
हम्म
So we tell them, either use our energy or you use the energy of our gadgets. So
राइट
extract the energy of our batteries and things. So
ओके
a lot of times ऐसे होता है कि जब हम लोग ऐसा बोलते हैं तो हमारा बैटरी डाउन हो जाते हैं, हमारे गैजेट्स के बैटरीज डाउन हो जाते हैं.
इज दैट सो
Yes. So that's a very easy way for spirits to manifest, to manipulate electrical energy. So
एंड
that's what we
इज
have.
दैट द रीजन दैट अगर कहीं पे कुछ ऐसा बहुत हाई इलेक्ट्रो ईएमएफ फ्रीक्वेंसी या फिर प्रेजेंस ऑफ स्पिरिट है देयर इज फ्लिकरिंग ऑफ लाइट्स और देयर इज
Possibility, but flickering of
malfunction of
lights.
the electronic gadgets
Now we're not going to jump to that कि वो spirit ही कर रहा है. अगर किसी के घर में ऐसा होता है तो we tell them पहले इलेक्ट्रिशियन को बुलाओ
नहीं आई एम
और
जस्ट
उसको
टॉकिंग
चेक
अबाउट
करो. हाँ,
स्ट्रिक्टली जहां पे आपका मतलब कंफर्म्ड ऐसा प्रेजेंस है मैं वहां की बात कर रहा हूँ इज
yes,
दैट सो कि malfunction जो होते हैं
yes.
इज इट
So
बिकॉज
हम
ऑफ द
लोग
सेम
उनको,
रीजन
yeah, so हम लोग उनको बोलते हैं, if you are present, can you turn on this light, or can you turn on the
ओके
torch or the flashlight, or can you turn on the lights on our K2 meters or on EMF, can you make a motion sensor go off? So उनको वो सब चीजें मैनिपुलेट करना ज्यादा आसान रहता है,
ओके
to show their presence. I mean, if they cannot show you their spirit form, it is very difficult for them to show. So these are the ways they will show you, or we will tell them, can you show, can you show yourself in the shape of or in form of a ball of light? I will tell you this. एक केस में ऐसा हुआ था हम लोग के साथ, मेरे साथ जो Siddharth took one room, I took another room, right? And so जिस रूम में मैं थी, unfortunately मेरा वीडियो कैमरा नहीं चल रहा था. I was just taking still pictures. And so मैंने बस उस entity, I did not know what, if there was anything there. I just put a question, I just threw this question out saying, if there is anything here, can you manifest yourself in a shape in as a ball of light? And I was like, okay. So, and in उसके थोड़ी देर बाद I saw this ball of light ऐसे ऊपर आते हुए ऐसे ऐसे गया, and then it just disappeared. I was so shocked. I was like, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just telling you this, but the hair
सेम
on the
हियर
back of my neck was standing at that point, and I was like, what the hell just happened? What the hell just happened? Did it just do exactly what I told it to do? And I was like, oh shit, my camera was not on video. It was on still mode. And till today, I regret that कि मेरा camera video mode पे क्यों नहीं था. Otherwise, that would have been one of the most amazing evidences that we've ever captured. So that's how they manifest themselves.
so I was speaking to Neil and he shared one of his incidences it was so he mentioned that whenever I have to write a novel or a book I go to a place completely out of the city, preferably Goa or somewhere like Panvel, and he takes up a hotel room and he will just come out for having his meals and that's it. Well, most of the time मेरे साथ ये हो चुका है and I think he has posted one video of the same incident on his Instagram as well, wherein when he enters the hotel, the lights and everything are completely fine, whenever he is deep into the book, जब आप वो deep senses में जाते हो, you start visualizing things, you start manifesting things, and you incidentally, accidentally connect to the other world, because they also come to know, okay, someone is writing about us, someone is thinking about us, and they might tend to show themselves in forms that you just mentioned, like flickering of lights and all that. So he has indeed posted a video of this on his Instagram where the lights of his room have started flickering.
होता है ऐसे. I mean, when you're too deep into this, then it starts to affect you, right? So there are sometimes we get these we get these kind of emails or these messages on our social media that this is happening with me, and ये होता है वो होता है. तो फिर अगर हम पूछते हैं, थोड़ा सा इन डेप्थ जाते हैं, तो वो तब हमको पता चलता है कि ये लोग कुछ ज्यादा ही रिसर्च करते हैं इस फील्ड का. They are seeing too many horror movies or too deep into this field. So much of research. I mean, इतनी knowledge तो हम लोग को भी नहीं होती paranormal investigators जितना वो लोग हम लोग को. And उसके वजह से उन लोग के साथ ये सब होता है. You don't know, but you are unconsciously manifesting all that.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have to be very careful. So somebody is like, oh, I played around with the Ouija board, and हम ये कर सकते हैं, हम वो कर सकते हैं. आगे हम ये स्पिरिट बुला सकते हैं. आप बुला तो किसी को भी सकते हो, लेकिन आपको उनको वापस भेजना आता है.
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it? Do you have any idea what's coming out of? I mean, you may be trying to open a portal to speak to one person, but that वो दरवाजा से एक जने के लिए नहीं खुला है.
Exactly.
वो दरवाजा सबके लिए खुला है. And what is coming from the other side, you have no clue. You are thinking, oh, I'm speaking to this person that I want to speak to. My family member or my loved one, my friend, or falana, wo falana. But then, are you really speaking to that person?
Exactly. My question was this, कि जब आपने बुलाया है, because you don't know, you're not a sadhu or not a highly spiritualized human being. You're not God. You don't know what you have. वो हो सकता है अपने आप को show कर रहा है as a whatever you have called. You have maybe called your grandfather, but that evil spirit is showing itself as your grandfather and is trying to now feed on your energy or get into this world through you.
ऐसा होता है.
Okay.
There have been cases. I mean, we've not come across it. I mean, we've not been involved with such cases, but there are cases across the world where we know paranormal investigators who have had these cases where the client said, "This is what you did," and फिर ये हुआ है. अभी हमें नहीं पता कौन है. हमने तो we wanted to speak to this person. We thought we were speaking to this person.
Okay.
But now this person is not going from here, and now it is harming us. But it's my grandfather. Why will my grandfather harm me? How do you know तुम अपने grandfather से बात कर रहे हो?
Exactly.
Right? So you need a professional to do this. You need somebody who's experienced in using these things to connect, channel, medium, whatever. आपको दरवाजा खोलना आता है, लेकिन आपको दरवाजा बंद करना नहीं आता है. और साथ साथ में वो जो सब दरवाजे के थ्रू आए हैं, आप उनको कैसे बाहर करेंगे? वो तो आपको आता ही नहीं है ना. So that's why for us also, we have no idea. We don't know. We don't use Ouija boards and things like that, or channel or anything, because we have no clue whatsoever how to manage that or how to do it. Or same thing. We can call, but then how do we send them back again? Right? You need somebody who's experienced in this field,
right,
to do all this.
So Meghna, now talking about the Ouija boards and all, what are the kind of equipments that you use when you go into in such a site, right? Wherein you are investigating, you're doing your research. So what are the various technical gadgets that you use?
So our gadgets are basically all scientific stuff. So these gadgets, they are not actually for paranormal investigation. These gadgets are actually used in industries to check air pressure, temperature, heat signatures, and things like that. And then someone years ago thought, we can use this for paranormal investigation as well. Because basically what we are doing, we are checking EMFs, we are checking the temperature, we are checking heat signatures or cold spots, if you want to say so. So that's how we are using these. So we have night vision camera. So हम लोग को पता चला कि night vision camera से हम लोग को दिख सकता है या IR camera से, because it is opening up one more spectrum of light.
Hmm.
Right? IR is opening one spectrum. तो जो हम लोग को naked eye से नहीं दिख रहा वो हमको IR से दिख रहा है. Then somebody realized wait उसको full spectrum कर दो.
IR would be infrared,
Yeah.
just for everyone's
Yeah,
clarity.
yeah. So somebody thought, some engineer thought कि चलो उसको full spectrum कर देते हैं. That means you're seeing through all spectrum of lights. So that's how we get the full spectrum camera. So we have night vision cameras, we have CCTV cameras, full spectrum cameras, we have audio recorders. Now audio recorders are special recorders that capture sounds which you and I cannot hear
Okay.
normally. But we also use normal digital cameras as well. We also use a normal audio recorders. Normal, जैसे अपने फोन पे भी हम रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हैं.
Hmm.
ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ उन्हीं पे कैप्चर, समटाइम्स हमारे फोन पे भी कैप्चर होता है या हम लोग की नॉर्मल डिजिटल कैमरा से भी कैप्चर हो सकते हैं. बट दीज आर स्पेशलाइज्ड इक्विपमेंट लाइक मोशन सेंसर्स हैं, K2 meters हैं, पोस्ट मीटर है, ट्राई फील्ड मीटर्स, इज ऑल EMF डिटेक्ट करने के लिए. We have REM pods. We use lasers. We use. We have this doll, which works as it's an EMF meter. It's an EMF detector, like a trigger. We use it like most of the time. We use our gadgets as trigger objects. Like अगर
Okay.
like sometimes अगर किसी ने बोला कि हाँ यहाँ पे बच्चे की entity हमको दिखती है या presence feel होता है, so we'll take the doll or we'll take some toys with us. Okay, fine. If it's a child, then a child will come and play with it, right? So yeah, we have those kind. We use these gadgets to record evidence.
So I think Meghna, in the beginning itself, in the beginning of the podcast, we had manifested कि शायद हमें 2 एपिसोड करने पड़ जाएंगे, and I'm pretty sure वो दूसरा एपिसोड हमें जल्दी ही करना पड़ेगा. I think in this episode we have just scattered scratch the surface, as you call it. Scratch the surface हम नहीं किया है. We have to go much deeper into it.
Yes.
Right. And I could feel sometimes that things were getting heavy, probably for you to explain and for me to also absorb. So thank you for
You're
this
most
wonderful
welcome.
podcast.
Yeah.
And I look forward to having our second episode really soon.
Definitely.
And then we'll talk about prepare ourselves and be completely ready to head on, take whatever comes out.
Yes,
and
I
we'll
can
go
have,
deep into.
I can also have Siddharth come over and we can do it together as well.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Experiences अलग होते हैं, everybody
Exactly.
has different experiences. So I am very spiritual and he is very scientific in his ways. So you can see both the spectrums of investigation. कि मैं किस तरह से करती हूँ, ये किस तरह से करता है. So that can be something that you can do.
Thanks a lot, Meghna, and
most welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
And hope to have you soon.
Lovely to speak to you, and
Same here.